This is the 2026 Nissan Armada Nismo. It's big, it's bold, and it's tuned by the same people who make those GTRs that can melt your face off. So can this do the same? Well, let's go for a drive and find out. At first glance, it is unmistakably an Armada with its muscular proportions and massive size, but this Nismo version gets the motorsport treatment. There's a black roof and pillars, red accents on every side of the SUV, a unique aero package, more Nismo badges than you have fingers, and a new grille that looks like the side of a sheer cliff. And then there's the stance. The Nismo comes with adaptive air suspension just like most other versions of the Armada, but with the unique aero package, it looks like it's slammed to the ground in its lowest setting. If Need for Speed Underground 2 was a hot game right now, this would probably be on the cover. Underneath, the adaptive air suspension has been slightly retuned from other Armada models. There's a tweaked exhaust along with active sound enhancement in the cabin, tweaked steering for faster response, and new 22-inch Nismo wheels. Normally, they come wrapped in performance all-season tires, but these ones are wrapped in winter tires. Now let's talk about the power. Under the hood is Nissan's 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6, which Nismo's engineers have tuned to produce an even 460 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with a 9-speed automatic transmission, which doesn't have the fastest responding shifts, but they are smooth, most of the time. The reason why I say most of the time is because this has the same odd characteristic as the previous Armada that I reviewed and also the QX80. At speeds of around 30 kilometers an hour or lower, like right now, the transmission doesn't really know what to do. It doesn't stick with one gear, it's constantly upshifting and downshifting, and that motion makes for a jerky feeling. Now at higher speeds, all that goes away. It is very, very smooth. And you will be getting at those higher speeds because the Armada Nismo is faster than a 2.7-ton SUV ought to be. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour takes about 6 seconds. Power comes on smooth, torque arrives early, and by the time you realize what's happening, you're already breaking several traffic laws. You may also be breaking the bank because this is a thirsty SUV, especially in city traffic. Officially, it's rated for 14.7 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 12.4 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. But even with quite a bit of highway driving in the past week, I've only managed to average 15.1 liters per 100 kilometers. Now a Nissan GTR, this is not. It's not even a Durango SRT or GLS AMG. Sure, it has a few tweaks compared to regular versions of the Armada, but on a whole, this is still a family SUV that just happens to have a Nismo aero package. Of course, it's not all doom and gloom. This new generation of Armada feels competent around turns. Obviously, it's not something you want to drive quickly around the Nürburgring or a tight, twisty mountain road, but it feels stable with just a bit of body roll through turns. Also, the Armada Nismo doesn't get any upgraded brakes. It still uses the same tiny looking discs and calipers, only painted red, as the regular Armada or Infiniti QX80. So after a few hard braking maneuvers, you'll be smelling those brake pads like your grandma's cooking, just not as sweet of a smell. But here's a nice surprise. Despite the somewhat performance upgrades and the looks, comfort has not gone out the window. On highways, wind and tire noise are well isolated. You do hear a little bit more engine noise in this Nismo compared to other trims of the Armada, but a lot of that is coming from the speakers. And these seats, they're like lazy boys but with bigger bolsters. Inside, the Nismo badge means premium materials and subtle aggression. You get leather and suede sport seats with red stitching, a bit of carbon style trim, and just enough screens to make your old desktop jealous. Nissan's infotainment system is fairly intuitive to use, with the main screen allowing for a few different widgets and customization options. The sub-menus are reminiscent of older Nissan infotainment systems, but they work just fine. You do have the option of not using the touchscreen and instead relying on a few buttons and scroll wheel on the right side of the steering wheel, but this is very frustrating to use. As for space, it still is just as cavernous as other versions of the Armada. Up here in the front seats, there's absolutely no issues for my tall 6'4" height. I have plenty of legroom and plenty of headroom. Second row, equally just as spacious for my tall height, sitting behind my tall driving position. As for the third row, it's best saved for your shorter friends, perhaps those under 6 feet, because for somebody as tall as me, legroom does become an issue when the second row seats are pushed all the way back. Behind the seats, you can fit a weekend's worth of track day tools for your project car or bike. This Armada Nismo can still tow 8,500 pounds after all. The third row seats can gracefully fold down at the push of a button, and with both back rows folded, there's a little under 2,800 liters of cargo space. As for the cost, the Nismo Armada starts at just under $104,000 Canadian, and that is before fees, taxes, or any sort of dealership markup. I know, that still is a lot of money, but it's roughly in the same ballpark as something like the GMC Yukon Denali or Ford Expedition King Ranch, and those SUVs don't have the same cool factor as this does. Big SUVs are everywhere now, but few have character. The Nissan Armada Nismo has it by the bucket load. It looks like no other big SUV on the roads, but at the same time, it's one of the most polarizing SUVs out there. It's such an outlandish look that the average Nissan buyer may not understand it. I feel like this tarnishes the Nismo badge just a little bit. Both the Nismo version of the GTR and the Z get performance upgrades to go along with their sportier looks, whereas this just gets the looks. It's great if you want to live out your Fast and Furious fantasies, but I was expecting a little bit more substance underneath to go along with the 6-figure price tag. But if you would like to know more about this Nissan Armada Nismo, I have a more detailed written review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description or click on the pop-up banner right up here. And as always, I will see you in the next car, truck, or most likely another SUV. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.